Hello, this is my video vlog. Um, so doggone crazy. Um, I have spent a very long time trying to fix or get under control my PTSD. Um, I was a part of Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom. Saw quite a bit, which I don't want to get into because my head is still pounding, but I just figured I would start doing a vlog to kind of help release some of the things that I go through and just share with y'all how I cope with it. But today I had the worst PTSD, anxiety. Some people call it a flashback. So I live in a small town in Spartanburg County, and there are times when you hear like planes and stuff, the military planes flying over. And this morning I heard it and I felt it, and I was like, oh, they just flying over, making sure everything good. And I rolled over, went back to sleep, not even realizing that, I just kind of blew it off because I've gotten myself to a place now where it's like I'm in a safe place. And that can't harm me. Things like that can't happen. It keeps me from getting triggered. So from previous exercises that I learned through counseling and PTSD therapy, it is to pretty much remind yourself when you feel like something's happening, just remind yourself that you're safe, you're in a safe environment. That's not happening. And it worked for a while, but now it's like I heard that this morning, and that was the beginning of the trigger, and I had no idea. And y'all, it was so bad. It was horrible. And I really don't know how to really explain what I was feeling, but I can give you some of the diagnosis of what was going on. I really just felt like I was back in a war zone. Hearing helicopters come in and out. I rolled over and I heard it because I felt it. I heard it first. But once it got closer, and this time it felt like it was right over my house. And I literally, like, in my mind, I felt like I was in a cot. And if you've been to Iraq, when we first went to war, we slept on green cots. We didn't have all of these nice little tents and things like that. We either slept under the stars in our vehicles, But I rolled over. In my mind, I was rolling out of my cot because I felt like something was wrong. And I was like, oh my God, like, I got to get up. Something happened, And I went, and it was so crazy because I knew I was home. I ran to my window, and I remembered this happening this morning. I ran to my window and I looked and I saw them flying over. And in my mind, I was like, oh no, something happened. And then it was like a battle of understanding that nothing was wrong and I was safe. And then it was a battle of like extreme anxiety. Like my heart started racing, and I kept trying to tell myself over and over again, you're safe, nothing's wrong, like you're okay, like nothing's wrong. And I got to a place where I was just like, oh my God, like something is wrong, like I can't control it, I can't figure out what's going on. I had no clue like how to control this thing this time. And it was like my heart started racing, and it seemed like everything was just spinning. um I kept pacing the floor back and forth, back and forth. And y'all, I have medication in there, but the medicine, it doesn't kick in like fast enough. I would have been asleep all day, which defeated the purpose because I ended up sleeping all day anyway. um but I didn't want to take the medicine. It's kind of like I got to a place where I was like, I don't want to take another doggone pill that's going to mess with my head. Because I remember when I used to walk around after having these dreams at night, and I couldn't figure out where I was, what I was doing. Like I didn't want to move. I was going through like real bad anxiety and depression episodes and just different times, and I refuse to go back to that place. Like I don't want to ever be back in that position again. um and I was, in my mind, I was like, you're safe, like you're okay, nothing's happening here, you are at home, like this is your safe place. Like, and over the last couple of days, I've been thinking like, I have to protect my home. Like I have to make sure that we're ready in case something happened. And I didn't realize that all of those were PTSD triggers. I had no idea. And it was so bad. Like I leaned over my bed, and it was like I wanted to pray, but I couldn't pray. I couldn't get my thoughts together to pray. Um, I leaned over on the bed and I turned on a YouTube video thinking that, it would have been a PTSD video that I could listen to. And then I realized that it wasn't something that, referred to what I was going through. And that's why I just decided to start sharing, these type of episodes with people, because I think that this is going to help. Um, Y'all, I was so exhausted when I finally calmed down. Like I couldn't even talk. I knew I had my phone in my hand. The video wasn't working. Like I wanted to throw my phone, and I was like, don't throw your phone, Um, I remember like picking it up to like throw it, and I just slammed it down, and I was like, it's not helping. And it's just a undescribable feeling. Like, and the only comfort that I found today in that whole episode was like, I picked up a blanket that my husband gave me as a anniversary gift one year, and I wrapped myself in that blanket. And I remember when I wrapped myself in the blanket and I laid down, I felt like I was back in the cot, and I was like in my mind saying, I just got to make it home. I just got to make it home. I just got to make it home. And at some point or another, it clicked that I was home. And I literally felt like I was back in my green sleeping bag. I felt like I had gotten to a place where, um, like, that was the only safe place that I felt like. I grabbed that blanket because my husband had they had reserve training weekend or whatever it's called. And he was at work, and he had a PT test today. And it was like I couldn't just call him. Like I couldn't tell him what was going on. And when he did call back, it was like I just was in a place where I couldn't speak about it. And he saw how upset I was and that I couldn't really say anything. He came home, and he was like, I don't want, he's like, you scared me. Like, I didn't understand what was going on. Um, and I think that is the worst because, like, I didn't even want to walk outside of my room because I was afraid of what was going on in my head and how it could have negatively impacted the kids that were in the house. And I just stayed in the room. Like, I felt like I was in this little bubble and I had to stay there and I couldn't move. I have not had I have not had a PTSD attack like that, and so scary and so strong in such a long time. Like, it literally wiped me out for the day. It was so bad. I was in here, like, on the bed, crying, rocking back and forth. It was like it took me a while to really get back to where it is that I am right now. Like, literally, it is 10, no, what time is it? I can't see. I know it's late, but um, it is probably about 10 o'clock, maybe 11 o'clock, because I don't know what time it is right now. And I'm just now waking up to try to get something to eat because my head started hurting so bad. And not only did my head start hurting so bad, like, I could feel myself going in and out with like jerks and stuff like that. And like, it's like my body is trying to release this, the feeling of the anxiety and the stress and things like that. And I guess it's not working very well. And I'm just hoping that I don't start having these seizures again. And I hope that this was just a one-time thing, that, it just happened because of, the trigger of hearing and feeling the helicopters pass over the house. I mean, y'all, it was so close. Like, it felt like it was right over the house. And if you ever been there, when a helicopter comes in, and these were Chinooks, but when you hear them coming, like, you can hear them from such a far distance. They come from such a far distance, and you can hear them. Like, it was almost like I had been so alert to hearing and feeling like it was a trigger. And I didn't realize that that was still a trigger for me. It was rough. Today was a rough day. It's still rough. Like, they say you're not supposed to hold back your tears and things like that. But it's like, I don't want to feel myself feeling like I am weak. So I try to make sure that I am like trying to control the situation, trying to make sure that I'm okay, trying to make sure that I find a way to vent about things. And I remember that going through counseling, at one point they said, don't call somebody that does not understand you. Like, I didn't want to call a VA because sometimes when you call them and you in that position, it's like, okay, well, you need to go this place or you need to go that place. And I'm like, no, no. So I just kind of I called my husband's first sergeant wife, and she is retired from the Marine Corps, and we're really good friends. And I just, like, literally, I just felt like she probably would have been the only person that understood. And I called her right in the middle of it, and I'm glad that I didn't actually get her because she has her own trauma that she deals with as well. And I would not have wanted to trigger her in that state that I was in. And I'm glad that everything worked out the way that it did. However, I am not okay with the fact that I was triggered. I just kind of like, I feel like this was a beginning of something that I don't want to start happening again. I don't want it to start happening again. I don't like it. I don't like what it feels like. I really hate going through, stuff like this because it's like it feels like a setback as I'm trying to grow and, be better. Um, and I just feel like I'm sitting here and my head is pounding um, still. And literally, this happened early this morning, and all I did was sleep all day because I just ended up back in that space again, and it didn't feel good. And um, I tried taking a Tylenol because really that's all I could take right now. I got my migraine cephaly device that I tried to put on, and I had that on a couple of times, but you only can do that like twice, and in a certain period of time. And so I did that, and still nothing. Um, I'm trying to eat something. I haven't had an appetite all day. I forced myself to eat because I knew my body was hungry because I had nothing to eat at all. Um, but I forced myself to eat, and I made a salad, and I had some stuffed salmon um, that I had cooked the night before. Um, it's just hard, like, and I just said I'm gonna start recording and documenting, like, what it is that I'm going through, because even trying to find a good counselor that understands what you go through is hard. Um, and I don't know how to explain what I really was feeling, or how many times I walked back and forth, or how it felt while I was wrapped up in a blanket. Like it was so many different feelings. It was so overwhelming, and like literally, I felt like I was having a full blown like panic attack or something that I can't control. Um, like I remember breathing really hard. My heart was racing. Um, like just slamming my hands on things. I could not get it together. So I don't know if this is something that, any of you may have experienced before, but I feel so exhausted. Like I just want to go back to sleep. I had one meal today. I said I wanted something that wasn't so heavy because my stomach still feels really queasy. I feel nauseous, probably because of the migraine that I'm having. And I'm just praying, y'all, that I really just do not have a seizure, because like this, it's like one thing happens and then something else happens and then something else happens, and I just don't want to go through that. I know that, I'm feeling a certain way because my body feels really tense and tight. Um, and I think it's because I probably got to a place where I was just in my I felt like I was in a cocoon. Okay. Um, and I just hope that me doing this will allow um, other veterans to become more open about how they feel, and know that what we experience is something that most people in the world probably won't ever experience. Um, it's traumatic and it's hard, and it's a lot to even encounter, um, and have to like try to bury. Like a lot of times when they ask you questions about things that you saw, it's like they're trying to figure out what triggered you. But it's like when you dig and you dig and you dig, it's like that's why I don't like to have conversations, because I know I had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and we were talking about old stuff, where we were stationed at, things that happened, how much fun we had, how things were not so fun at times. And I just really got to a place where I didn't feel like that was bothering me because I hadn't talked about a lot of that stuff in a long time, but it was like it didn't really bother me. Like nothing was wrong until I heard them helicopters over the house this morning. And the craziest thing is like I don't remember seeing a lot of vegetation when I was in Iraq, but when I looked over, like where if you see me post like pictures of like from my house, it's like a big old like forest in the back with a river. And when I saw those helicopters flying, it was like, why are they leaving us here? Like, why are they leaving us here? I just remember thinking that in my head. It's not what I said, because it was like almost a battle of me understanding that I was in a safe place and then trying to fight off the thoughts that I was having of seeing the helicopters go away. And it was like a replay of something, and I don't know what the replay is. Um, yeah, I don't know how to describe that, but I just remember when I got up, it's like I rolled out my bed, which in my mind seemed like a cot, and I ran to the window, and I just looked and I saw the helicopters over the trees, two of them, and I was like, why are they leaving us here? Yeah. So I don't, I hope, I do hope, I always have hope that things get better. And I'm not trying to control this. And I think that's part of the issue, because I haven't really been, talking about what I experienced or what I saw being in Iraq. But it is a feeling that I'll never forget. I remember the fear that I felt. I remember when we first got there and I was like, oh, we're not going to war. Like, it'll be okay, And then all of a sudden it was like, pack everything, we got to go, And then, I remember driving through a sandstorm. I remember, us having to pull over at times. And I like not understanding fully, because I was still pretty much a new soldier, but not understanding fully that the intensity of what was really going on. I had no clue until I saw bodies coming back in Humvees or in off of a helicopter. Things started getting real, and I think that triggered just hearing that helicopter. That's where it came from. I think that's where it came from. That was my trigger. And the craziest thing was that I could hear them from so far away. Like, I kept saying, I was like, I can hear them. They coming back. Like, I can hear them. And I don't know how to, I don't want to sound like it, like my mind is tricking me. But what I tell myself kind of kept me from going really cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs today. If that's the way I could really put it. But it's hard. It's hard. It's a hard thing to deal with. And I sympathize with anybody that's going through it too. But yeah, I just wanted to document this and, really put it out there for any other veterans that's going through it. Letting you know that you're not alone. I was really young when I went, but now it's like, I'm 41 years old, and it's like now it's taking a toll on me again, and I don't understand why. I guess it never really goes away in the first place, but yeah, this is kind of where I'm at. So I gotta find a way to, deal with it, maneuver and function with it. And today I just slept. I just rested, and I think that's what I'm about to do again. I had my food, but y'all, it's still in the bowl. I made me some yogurt and granola and some blueberries, and I got me some water, and I'm just gonna try to eat something because I know I need to. But yeah, it's hard. It's so hard. And my prayer for each of you is that you take some time to really, really um, meditate, rest, um, and just keep telling yourself you are safe. You are loved by your family members. One of my biggest fears is, doing something outside of my head that my kids, they have no clue about. They don't know what's going on. They've never seen me actively have a attack because I always distance myself. So that's one of my biggest fears. But try to find a way of controlling and coping with, not really controlling, that's not a good word, with being able to cope with having this type of attack just out of the blue, because you never know when it could happen. And just always remember that you're safe. You're safe, and utilize the resources that you have, friends and family members that understand, previous battle buddies, and also the VA services. And I pray that, all of you are well, and that for those of you that it never happened to, I hope you never have to go through it. But I do pray for those of us that are going through it, that we're able to find someone that can help us get through it, okay? This isn't the end for us. Life isn't always going to be this way, but we have to make a decision in our mind that we won't let it control our lives and how we function in everyday living, okay? All right, so that's it. I love you guys. And yeah, I pray that all is well with you and your family, and you all will be okay. Thanks. Bye, y'all.